Chapter 1 Lu Ye's Past. You are listening at FameTV.info. Hey kid, our boss wants to talk to you. Be good and get in. The sky was dark when Lu Ye encountered a hindrance on his way back home. A black limousine stopped next to the sidewalk as three men in black suits came out with electric batons in their hands. They gestured at the open door, but Lu Ye only gave it a casual glance and continued walking as if he didn't hear them. The takeout food he carried would get cold if he didn't get home soon. Too bad, they didn't appreciate the favor he granted them. Hey! I said get in, the man nearest to him yelled in annoyance and quickly blocked Lu Ye's way. He aimed his baton directly at Lu Ye's head, causing him to finally stop. You must be new, right? Lu Ye asked calmly, placing his food down on the sidewalk. Huh? The man was taken aback by the question, but Lu Ye didn't give him a chance to follow up. You must be new or else you would know you shouldn't aim anything at my face, Lu Ye explained as he slowly rolled up his sleeves. Just look at your friends. Wait. Watch you. The moment the man glanced over Lu Ye's shoulders, he was already on the move. The warning from the black suits came a little too late. Lu Ye closed the distance with a leap and grasped the baton, his punch flying at the exposed elbow. Crack that it snapped like a dry branch, but Lu Ye had no mercy in his crystal blue eyes. His knee was already at the man's stomach before he could even scream from pain. Ugh! That grunt was the last sound he made before he fell on the ground, leaving Lu Ye armed with his newly snatched electric baton. Who's next? Lu Ye's cold gaze, combined with the juggling of the baton, was enough to cause chaos in his opponents' minds. They had met him before, they knew their chances of bringing him down dropped to zero the moment he acquired a weapon. That's enough. A sweet but stern female voice came from inside of the black limousine. Get inside. I will give you a lift. My parents taught me not to talk to strangers, much less enter their cars, Lu Ye replied with a nonchalant face. I will walk. In response, the tinted window rolled down and Lu Ye saw a polished barrel aiming at him. He would never mistake the graceful hand holding the pistol, especially the dragon bracelet which only the heir of the local triad could wear. Suyu, the daughter of Red Dragon President, anyone who had met her at least once knew she wouldn't hesitate to pull the trigger if he tried to run. Fine. Lu Ye gave in and threw the electric baton at the men in black suits before entering the limousine with his bag of takeout food. Take care of the new guy. I will come pick you up later, Suyu called out to her bodyguards before the door closed automatically and the car slowly drove away. Lu Ye had her full attention as she looked at his body up and down. Sit next to me, Suyu ordered. She put down her gun and exchanged it for the half-finished glass of wine beside her. Want some too? It was a rare sight to witness Suyu offer anyone a drink, and it was unbelievable to see that lucky person ignore her gesture, even stranger. Suyu continued smiling despite being blatantly rejected. What do you want? Lu Ye asked with the same deadpan expression he wore towards her bodyguards. Although her beauty was desired by all, he didn't even spare her body a glance. He gazed directly into her eyes, as unflinching and unyielding as he had always been. What other reason do I need? I just missed you, Suyu replied, her voice gentle as she bent over, her soft body leaning on her armrest. Did you miss me too? Her traditional black cheapao dress did no justice to the cleavage hiding underneath, but her ample chest created a seductive curve any man would give anything to caress any man beside Lu Ye. I guess not, Suyu answered on her own after hearing no response to her teasing. After taking a sip, she placed her wine glass to the side and began drawing on his arm with her perfectly lacquered nail. I want you back. No, Lu Ye replied without hesitation, brushing her hand away. I will not work for you again. Suyu pursed her lips and suddenly slipped the armrest back, breaking the barrier between their seats. Her perfectly sculpted waist and hips were now in his full view. You see. Suyu began as she moved closer to him, skillfully maneuvering her two graceful legs across his own. This time, it's much different. You are not in a position to say no. Her left thigh was fully exposed through the high cut of her cheapao. Before he could react, she had tangled their legs together to prevent him from pushing her away. Lu Yi lifted his eyes to meet her gaze once more. And why is that? He asked with a frown. I already paid off my parents' debt. I don't owe your family anything. He didn't like where this was going. No one knew the struggle, how much blood he had shed and how many near-death experiences he had encountered, in order to escape his dark past and return to normality, yet it seemed this woman was here to bring the nightmares back. Suyu took her time to reply, simply playing with his short black hair as she collected her thoughts. You. No, you were my first, right? You took everything I was supposed to give to my future husband, including the most important one, Suyu reminded, her expression somewhat distracted and anxious. If my dad learns about us, you will either have to marry me or be a cold corpse by tomorrow. Lu Yi squinted his eyes, but Suyu swiftly clarified. I'm not threatening you, okay? I will not lower myself to blackmail to make you mine. I'm just putting it out there so you don't forget it. We are riding the same boat. Lu Yi kept silent, aware that she had more to say. What I meant is something different. Your sister's hospital bills were brought up today, Suyu finally revealed. She was looking down as if to avoid his gaze. I know back then I promised I will cover them for you, but I made the mistake of using my family's money instead of mine. Today, I was questioned about it. Lu Ye's heart sank as his old pains resurfaced in his mind. The main reason he had accepted Suyu's advances was not because he was tempted by her beauty, but because of his desperation. Back then, since he had been working his ass off to clear his deceased parents' debt, he had saved little and had no extra money to his name. One day, his precious little sister collapsed and fell sick with a rare disease that required expensive medical attention. What did you tell them? Lu Yi questioned, but Suyu remained silent, hiding her face behind her long straight hair. Lu Yi reached out and uncovered it before casually lifting her chin. She was forced to look into his eyes. This time, she didn't avoid his gaze. You know, you are the only man that ever touched me this way, Suyu muttered softly, completely different from her usual cold self. She held on to his hand and let her cheek lay against his palm. Tell me the truth, Lu Yi urged. He knew that the situation was critical. One bad move and his sister could be in danger. To hide what happened between us, I told them that I simply paid you in advance to work for me. They only accepted it because they know you are one of the best, Suyu explained honestly. I don't think I can justify paying such an amount out of my own pocket without them being suspicious. They will definitely investigate. It's fine. It could be worse, Lu Yi sighed in relief. I will pay you back the full amount with interest. How much is it? No, I don't want your money. I want you, Suyu demanded, but Lu Yi shook his head. You know I can't. I am already done with that world. I will not risk my sister's life by joining the underworld again. Lu Ye's tone allowed no argument. Tell me how much I owe you. I will find a lawful job and pay you back. Are you sure you can pay me back? Suyu asked, clear doubt on her face. She showed one finger. It is this much. Just 1,000. Lu Yi asked in surprise. There is no way it is, 1 million. Lu Yi already expected a big number, but he definitely didn't count in millions. Suyu seemed to enjoy his confusion as she pulled away, elegantly returning to her seat. 1 million, and I'm yet to include the interest. If you plan to slowly pay me back, then you should forget about it. My parents want to see you working for me lest they demand you to pay back the whole amount within a week, Suyu informed him just as the limousine stopped in front of his house. Anyway, don't worry, I won't force you to return to our business. I have prepared something else for you. This work doesn't even require you to leave home. Lu Yi couldn't help but turn suspicious. What work? For how long? Suyu only shrugged as the door opened on its own. I already sent the package with instructions to your place. Your sister will be happy you can spend more time with her at home. Suyu passed to him a black debit card. Also, since you are working for me, this is your employee benefit. You can use this card for your basic expenses. For how long, I say, it depends on how long you'll pay back your debt. Lu Yi squinted his eyes but he didn't complain, taking the card with him. He knew her well. If she wanted to tell him more details, he would not even need to ask. As if reading what's on his mind, Suyu took another sip of her wine. I know you are suspicious but don't worry, I will not ask you to risk your life or do anything dangerous. Though, maybe I will order you to go on a date with me or come over for a movie night. I wouldn't be Suyu if I didn't take advantage of you. I'm leaving. Lu Yi got off the limousine without forgetting the bag of food for dinner. Suyu was right. If she didn't try to take advantage of him, he would definitely become suspicious. She would not earn the underworld's title of Queen of Chess for nothing. Sure enough, when Lu Yi entered his apartment, he spotted a big square box by the entrance. There was a pink card folded on top of it. He only needed a glance to see the elegant handwriting in the middle. To my baby, Lu Yi rolling his eyes, he lost the will to open it and instead entered the lobby in search of his angel. There wasn't anyone in this world who deserved his love more than his little sister. Junjun. Lu Yi questioned as he entered the dining room. The little beauty sitting by the table immediately stood up. Big bro. For as long as he could remember, the way his sister welcomed him home had never changed, a warm greeting that was always accompanied by a jump hug and a neck squeeze. Although Lu Junjun was just 1 year younger than him, she loved to act like a cute little koala. How are you? Lu Yi asked casually as he placed her down. I brought us food. He stopped himself midway when he noticed some leftovers in the kitchen. You are late. What time do you think it is? It's already 10:15, you know, his sister replied as she gave him a knowing stare. Your girlfriend already ordered dinner for us not too long ago. Girlfriend? Lu Yi repeated in surprise, before taking another look at the box by the entrance. It seemed the box had been personally delivered. Suyu was here. He should not have said that. Aha. So you two are really dating, his little sister called out, her mouth twisted in an exaggerated pout. I don't like that you have been hiding it from me for so long. It's not like that. Lu Yi shook his head, but then he paused, realizing he couldn't tell her the truth. It's complicated. It's complicated. They both said those words at the same time. I know, Suyu told me the same. I was really touched when she revealed everything, his little sister expressed with deep regret. To think you two have to hide your love because of her family. Love, huh? Lu Yi muttered under his breath. What else did she tell you? Let's see. Well, she also told me that you will be working for her from now on. That way, it will allow you two to meet more often. Ah, I'm really happy for you too. Suyu is such a sweet girl, his little sister expressed dreamily. Anyway, you shouldn't slack just because you are dating your own boss. You are running out of time. It's almost 10. You can't be late. What do you mean? Late for what? Lu Yi was confused. He didn't even know what his work was, much less the time he'd be starting. Huh. She didn't tell you the launch is today. You only have 10 minutes left. What are you waiting for? Go unpack the package and get ready. Lu Junjun scolded as she took the bag of food in his hand before pushing him towards the box. TSK, she even wrote you a sweet note and you didn't even read it. I don't know which gods did you send prayers to for you to get such a thoughtful girlfriend. Lu Yi couldn't stop his curiosity anymore. He picked up Suyu's note but just as he read the first 2 sentences, his eyes were already wide open. Suyu. You. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.